Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the players who are now available in the updated penalty game on eFootball. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, so if you want to hear about particular players, click the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to them. So we've got Eden Hazard as our lap 1 reward, we're going to get him after our first lap. Then in our main box, we've got Rijkaard from when he was at Ajax. We've also got Xavi Simons, Jérémy Doku, Cucurella, all highlight cards. We've got a Showtime Kökçü card. And then there's also a Raúl box. It used to be a Drogba box. So instead of Drogba, we've now got Schalke Raúl, dummy runner. And then we've got highlights for John McGinn, Dimarco, Leão, and Schlotterbeck. So I'll start by doing the main box. And who are we going to look at first? Let's look at Marc Cucurella first. So we've had quite a few Cucurella cards. There was a Spain freebie not long ago when they won the Euros. Bunch of trending ones as well as highlight cards. To be honest, not a massive difference between the better kind of trending cards, player of the week cards, and this one. Some of them are slightly better, particularly this player of the season card. And also they got more skills than this one. That's one downside with this card. Bit of a lack of skills. It's comparable in terms of his overall ability to the better highlight cards we've had of Cucurella, including that free Spain one. But like I say, though, you're going to need to put a few skills on him. If you do give him a few skills, it looks like he should be pretty solid. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub, though. We're going to train him up, see how good he is exactly. So, yeah, he's pretty solid. In terms of how they boosted from his GP card, looks like, I think, 5 or 6 points on tackling at level 1, a couple of points on finishing, and then everything else is +3. So, yeah, it's one. It's interesting the way they do these boosts on highlight cards. Sometimes they're really mixed. They can be boosted from anything from 0 up to 10 or even more, and obviously sometimes they'll randomly reduce 1 or 2 attributes, but then every now and then you get one like this where it's a pretty uniform boost. Just about everything has gone +3 at level 1 except tackling, which is +6, and then just a couple on finishing. But yeah, it's a solid fallback. I'd like a bit more in his attacking awareness, maybe his tight possession. I would like a bit more physical strength as well, but apart from that, pretty solid. Not amazing, not a lot of stats going past the 90 mark. Certainly stamina is, though. He's got fantastic stamina, that is great. But yeah, a solid left back, nothing too special here. Would I change the way the points are allocated at all? They've not done anything crazy with auto allocation. For once, they've not gone past 12. I wouldn't go below 12 there. Dexterity, I don't know. I mean, what do you need to boost, really? You can do with a bit more physical strength, but you need 2 points per increase. He's already on 4 for aerial there. I don't think I'll do much, to be honest. I think I'll probably leave it as is. I think you've just got a solid left back there. He just does. It just needs a few skills. I'll give him pinpoint crossing, unless you're going to put defensive on him and hold him back like a defensive fullback. And then defensively, interception, man marking, and block are the first 3 I would give him. Maybe his fighting spirit, maybe his acrobatic clearance. But I think those 3, interception, man marking, blocker, those are the three defensive skills I'd look for first. So he does need a few skills, but he's pretty solid looking. There's nothing special, really. He's got quite high attacking awareness for a fullback. I never noticed that on him before. Could you make him a left midfielder? Let's just see if there's any other build he can do. And so if we take all those points off defending an aerial, can we make him much of a winger? Ish. Kind of ish. Yeah, I don't know. He could be alright as a left winger. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure anything really stands out statistically that makes me really want to make him a left winger. I think he's a pretty solid left back. I don't think he gives you as much value as a left winger, but if you get him pinpoint crossing, certainly his crossing will be pretty good. 88 lofted, 88 kicking power. Not a great deal of goal, but his crossing would be pretty solid if you gave him pinpoint crossing. But yeah, does he look amazing enough that you'd want to make him a left winger? I don't know. He can certainly do a job for you there. I think as a left back, he's certainly going to give you a bit more value. Sneaky centre back, maybe. He's not the tallest. No, not really. Lacking physical strength, really lacking in his vertical reach. Where is it? 257. Yeah, he's not the tallest. He's not got much jumping, really. Defensive runs ain't great. So yeah, I think you're looking with Cucurella. Certainly you could use him as a left wing if you wanted to, but primarily as a left back, he's a solid one. Like I say, he's pretty comparable to a lot of his better previous cards, to be honest, highlights and so on. Just 1 or 2, especially the player of the season one that's slightly better. But if you don't have a Cucurella card, particularly for the English League Challenge, I think it's a pretty solid left back. It's not an amazing one. 1 and 2 stats I'd like to be a little bit higher. He does need a few defensive skills, but yeah, it's a solid enough left back. And like I say, especially for the English League Challenge, could be a useful one to have. Right, who are we looking at next? Let's go straight to the Showtime player. We've got Orkun Kökçü. So, got a face scan. He's a box-to-box this time. Interesting. He's got unwavering form. The playing style is interesting with Kökçü because I don't think there's been a box-to-box version of him previously. He's usually been an orchestrator. I think the only version we've had of him previously that's not an orchestrator is there's a whole player version, which is a Player of the Week card. I think a Champions League Player of the Week card. I was disappointed not to get that because I do like him in game. He's always felt pretty nice to me, good end product. But yeah, he's a box-to-box this time, which is interesting. This is the best version we've had of him so far, which is not a big surprise since it's a Showtime card. Skill-wise, we've got a booster as well. Happy days. We've got the balancer booster, whatever the hell that means. So attacking awareness, defensive awareness, acceleration and stamina are all a bit higher than they never are, because these boosters are just utterly stupid. They're just a gimmick. Those will never ever be his stats. His stats are literally just those stats at level 1. I hate these boosters. I've ranted about it before, but yeah, those are his stats. Balancer plus whatever, those are his stats at level 1 basically. Skills. So yeah, not an orchestrator this time, but we see a lot of orchestrators, whether it's highlights or Player of the Week or whatever, whose skills are just all passing and all kind of offensive, and that's pretty much what you get with Kökçü. He's that type of a player. He's never great defensively. He never has the defensive skills, even though he's an orchestrator, DMF, CMF. And it's the same situation with the skills now. Just he's obviously got that different playing style, and it's going to depend where you're going to use him. If you're going to push him up as an AMF, we'll look at that when we train him in a second. Then he probably won't mind the lack of defensive skills there, because he's certainly got great skills going forward. And you don't really need to defend as an attacking midfielder. But if you're going to use him as registered position CMF, especially as a DMF as well, he's going to need a few skills. I would start with interception, and especially if you do use him as a DMF, you'd need a few more defensive skills. I think man marking, block would be important ones. I would give him fighting spirit as well, because he's not particularly strong physically. I think fighting spirit would be a helpful one. So yeah, depending how you're going to use this guy, it's going to need a few skills. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. And also he's got a Showtime skill. Obviously, it's a Showtime card, so he's giving him a visionary pass. That is the one, if I'm not mistaken, that means that when a player receives a pass from him, their first touch will be better. So when you're playing passes around with this guy, whoever you're passing it to is going to be able to control the ball better. It's maybe not necessarily as popular as Phenomenal Pass, but I think it's still a pretty good one. So you got a bunch of passing skills there: one touch through, weighted, visionary, low lofted, and then you got long range shooting and dipping shot. You got soul control, always a nice one to have on offensive players. Cut behind and turn as well, and penalty specialist, which is not the most important skill, but still come in handy. So yeah, certainly going forward, great skills. But if you're going to play him at centre mid, especially defensive mid, you might want to give him some defensive skills. But let's go train him up. Let's see how good he actually is. So over to eFootball Hub, all maxed out, and he's interesting looking. So like I was saying, when we're looking at the skills, it's going to depend on how you're going to use this guy, what position you're going to put him in, and what kind of role you're going to give him. Just to briefly touch on his GP guide, how they boosted him, it's a very mixed boost, the way the attributes have been kind of boosted and stuff. They've certainly boosted his defensives a bit. He's not great defensively still, but he's better than he normally is. They've only put 1 point on his low and lofted pass, which is a bit stingy, but at 93 fully boosted, he's pretty good there. But yeah, it's going to depend how you're going to use this guy. As a centre midfielder, not great defensively, lacking physical strength. He's all right on the ball. He's decent on the ball. He's obviously got very nice passing. He's got all the passing skills to back that up. Decent pace for a centre mid. Great kicking power behind his shots. Stamina is outstanding. Balance is okay. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag really. I think really you're going to kind of... I mean, we'll do a CMF build first. We'll try and do a kind of well-rounded build. I'm going to take a few off his passing. I will try and remember to do the booster this time. I did eventually remember on the summer transfer pack review for Dean Huijsen. I only remembered right at the end though. I'll see if I can remember before we finish looking at him at Kökçü. But yeah, can we kind of round him out and make him a bit more well-rounded? I mean, you've got loads of stamina. You could even go down to 4 on lower body, you know. I'm going to do that. Forgive me. You know what? I'm gonna go 2 more on dexterity instead of giving him physical strength. He's not going to be the strongest anyways. Now I just wonder, can we get that attacking awareness higher with the booster? Let's do a booster now. Nice to get the attack and defensive awareness both 80 plus. He doesn't desperately need anything elsewhere. What gives him more attack awareness? I'm just going to skim through them all. I think it's just Striker's Instinct, isn't it? Is that the only one? Yeah, Striker's Instinct. So there's one thing you could do. I personally, I do like it when my centre midfielders have 80 plus awareness defensively and offensively. I don't have many midfielders like that. It seems to be quite uncommon. But yeah, certainly if you were to build him this way, you are lacking a bit of physical strength, but he's pretty nice on the ball. He's got good passing. The attack awareness up to 80 now. Shooting's not brilliant, but that's not the most important thing. Defensively, he's got a bit of defensive ability, even if he's not the strongest defensively. Over on the right here, not great speed, but acceleration's up to 90. You've got balance at 88. Still got good stamina over 90. Yeah, as a centre mid, is kind of all-rounder. I quite like the look of that, actually. He's obviously going to be all about getting on the ball and playmaking. I think he'll be pretty effective. He's got that visionary pass skill. He's got all the other passing skills. It looks pretty nice to me, to be honest, like that as an all-rounder, I think. Got a bit of defensibility on him. If you're going to play him as a centre mid, I would give him interception at the very least. I think fighting spirit would be really beneficial for him as well, because he's not the strongest physically. I think, to be honest, if you're going to put skills on him, those are the only two I think he really desperately needs as a centre mid. Those would be my starting points anyway: interception and fighting spirit. He's fairly two-footed. I don't think he desperately needs outside curler, but you could give him that one. Could give him heel trick as well. But yeah, as a centre mid, I think I'll be building him something like that, kind of even him out. I think that's a better build than the auto allocation says. Just my personal opinion. And like I say, skill-wise, interception and fighting spirit, I think are the two skills I'd really want to put on him. So yeah, that's as a centre midfielder, I'd go with that. If we're going to push him further forward as an attacking midfielder, forget all the defending, and then we're going to do a bit more on his finishing. Get that kicking power to 90 for his long shots. At least one more on the ball. In fact, let's just go 90 plus on the words on the ball attributes. I think you know what? I'll go one less lower body, and then if you take 1 point from shooting, you get that balance to 90. There. That I think is what I would do as an attacking midfielder. So loads of 90 plus attributes down the left. The finishing's not amazing, but again, he's more of a playmaker. It's not the end of the world. Attack awareness over 80. Doesn't matter about defending anymore. This is an attacking midfield build. Speeds up a little bit from what it was before. Likewise, acceleration, which is at 93. Balance at 90. He's got that kicking power behind his shots. Fantastic stamina. As I keep mentioning, I'm working my way through positions, making videos, just experimenting with how players play in different positions without an active playing style. That's what would happen with Kökçü. He's a box-to-box, so he will not have an active playing style attacking midfield. So I will be covering that in the near future in a video. So that'll be an interesting one. Keep your eyes out for that one. In my personal experience, I've used players as an attacking midfielder without an active playing style before, including Kökçü. I've had two versions of Kökçü that were orchestrators. I've used him as an attacking midfielder. Not a problem at all. He did well there for me. I liked him. So yeah, my personal experience, it's not been a problem. So on that basis, I would say well worth trying him as an attacking midfielder. If you don't fancy him centre mid or defensive mid, attacking midfield with a build like this, I think it looks really nice, really interesting. He's got great searching skills going forward, creating goals, possibly scoring goals as well. Like I mentioned earlier on, he always feels pretty nice on the ball to me. He's not an amazing dribbler, but he just feels pretty responsive. He's got good ball control, as you can see there. So yeah, as an attacking midfielder, if you don't fancy him centre mid or defensive mid, I think he could be a very interesting option as an attacking midfielder. And skill-wise, I don't think he need a great deal. Maybe he's outside curler, heel trick, first time shot, long range curler. Don't think there's a lot else he really needs. Maybe he's fighting spirit. I think those five, that's five, isn't it? Yeah. If you're going to put skills on him as an attack midfielder, I think I'll go with those five probably off the top of my head. So yeah, attack midfielder looks very interesting to me. Defensive midfield. Can we make him a defensive midfielder? Let's go to auto allocation. What's it going to tell us? I don't know. Maybe in a double pivot. Possibly. Yeah, I don't think this guy's going to cut it as a kind of single pivot as your kind of lone defensive midfielder. I don't think he's going to be strong enough physically. I don't think he's going to be quite good enough defensively. He's not bad defensively, but I mean, they've gone up to 14 on defending just to get him to this level. He's not going to be that strong defensively, this guy. It's not a particularly efficient build. I always say that. Those last two increase on defending cost 4 points each, but can you go any lower than that if you're going to play him as a defensive mid? I'm not sure. I think in a double pivot, I would probably just go with roughly what I did when I built him as a centre midfielder, to be honest, and just accept that he's not the strongest defensively. But if you do use him as a defensive midfielder, even in a double pivot, then those defensive skills become even more important. Interception, man marking, blocker, fighting spirit. I think those four will be very important. So yeah, defensive mid for me, not keen at all. Just doesn't really look like he's particularly well equipped for that. I forgot about the booster again, didn't I, in the attack and mid build? We'll go back to that in a second, yeah. Oh, we've got Striker's Instinct still on, I didn't even realise. Hang on. I'm just thinking that defensive engagement's probably the one thing that might be worth trying to boost. What would that be? Julian, something like that? No. Shutdown. There you go. Shutdown gets a 90 for defensive engagement. Yeah, like I say, that I still don't really fancy him as a defensive mid. I don't think that's really where he's going to be best. Maybe he's playmaking from deep, but kind of orchestrator type of player, even without the orchestrator playing style as such. Could be handy in a double pivot, but like I say, the build I did as a centre midfielder, as a kind of all-rounder, I'd probably just look to give him that as a defensive mid and just make sure you got at least one other defensive midfielder alongside him, like an anchorman type, a destroyer, someone like that, doing the bulk of the defensive work. As an attacking mid, if we go back to the build I did as an attacking midfielder, let's see if I can remember that. If I just take all the defensive and aerial off, I just want to do the booster because I know someone will call me out. Hi Tom. I did 3 shooting, didn't I? And then I went 1 higher on something. Yeah, dexterity. Alright, so we had it on striker's instinct, didn't we? But I think as an attacking mid, I'd probably rather... Well, maybe shooting, actually. Did striker's instinct go as finishing? Do you know what? Striker's instinct probably does work, so there was no point in me doing that. I think I would go with that. I mean, I think this is one of these ones where it doesn't make much difference. I mean, I always say it doesn't make much difference anyway. I'm not a fan of these second boosters. I really just don't think it's worth faffing on with them. But there's a whole load you could do. You could do technique, make them even nicer on the ball. Passing, that covers passing again. Fantasy, there's loads you can do. I think this is one of these cards where if you're going to build him as an attacking mid, build him as you like, and then just throw a few randoms on him and hope for something attacking. Fantasy, ball carrying, technique, shooting, passing. Any of those would do the job, to be honest. So one other build we can do with him then before we finish up. We can make him a wide midfielder. He's already semi-proficient left midfield. So it could be a kind of inverted wing off the left wing. He's not got great speed, but if you were going to consider that passing is not as important out wide, you go up to 4 on passing, and you can get his speed up to 88. Decent enough. Yeah, I think I'll probably just do that if you're going to play him left mid. And maybe probably right mid as well. I mean, you can get the passing higher. If you're going to give him pinpoint crossing, you could put the passing back up like it was just now. Pretty much the attacking mid build. Just not have as much speed. That could work from the right wing if you wanted to use the position trainers to make him a right winger and a skill trainer to give him pinpoint crossing. But something like this for left wing where passing arguably isn't quite as important. Have him cutting inside, and if you give him long range curler, you could have a reasonable curler on him. I'm not sure it'd be best that wide. I've always wondered with Marc Cucurella whether it'd be worth me position training him to play out wide, because I find it difficult to fit him into my system because he's not so strong defensively, and I can't play him as an SS because I don't tend to play attacking mids very often. It's just every now and then I play attacking mids, and that's when I've used him. So I've wondered whether I could maybe train mine as a wide midfielder. So yeah, looking at this one, obviously it's better than the one I've got. When I do get this card, which hopefully I will, I might consider making a wide midfielder. I do think it'd be decent. I'm not sure whether it'd be better as a right winger whipping crossing or as an inverted wing off the left wing. I think both ways there are kind of pros and cons. You might not be able to get the speed where you want it. You might not be able to get the lofted pass where you want it. But it's certainly an option for you. It's going to take you some position trainings and skill trainings either way, whether it's long range curler on the left or whether it's pinpoint crossing on the right. But you do have that option. If you can't fit him into the middle of the park as a midfielder of any kind, I think I'd say you do have that option. But I'll just leave him on auto allocation, which I don't like personally. Let's just leave him on the build I did for him actually, because I did prefer that. Hang on. Let's see if I can remember what I did. Got the defending up a bit, didn't I? Oh yeah, we took the lower body all the way down to 4. Yikes. Seems a bit crazy, but I think it's worth doing. 8 points left. What did I do? That's a good question. What did I do? I got his attack when it's right up, didn't I? But striker's instinct on him. That's pretty much what I did. Yeah. I think he looks pretty decent actually as an all-rounder. I'm not sure I'd necessarily fit him into my team as a DMF in my double pivot, but I think a lot of people could really get some joy out of this guy in the middle of the park. But as you've just seen, there's a few different ways you can build him. Whether you just focus on the offensive ability as an attacking mid or just an attack-minded centre mid. Whether you try and make him strong enough to play in a double pivot. I'm not sure about a single pivot. Certainly in a double pivot you could do that. He's got a lot of abilities, all about playmaking primarily. If you want to give him any defensive responsibility, he really needs some defensive skills, but you've got a few ways you can use this guy. It's a shame that if you don't get the Turkish League challenge, there won't be a league challenge you can use him in, but it's a Showtime card. It's a decent looking one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him myself because, like I say, from personal experience, I quite like this guy in game. So yeah, to me, this is a quite an interesting card. I'm quite looking forward to getting it. A few ways you can use him. It could be a pretty handy midfielder to pick up. Right, who's next? Doku is next. Let's have a look at Jérémy Doku. So, got a face scan, of course. Prolific winger, left wing forward. He can play left wing or right wing, either as a wide forward or a midfielder. Only standard form. You can use him in the English League Challenge. skill-wise, lots of fun skills, but not many productive ones. End product-wise, that's usually the concern with this guy, and certainly skill-wise, it looks that way again. I'm not sure how high those attributes are going to go for passing and shooting. So yeah, end product's a concern. If you're going to put skills on this guy, give him some end product, give him some passing, maybe his crossing, maybe his shooting skills. But if you want to just dribble around with this guy and have fun with him, you're going to have a lot of fun. Anyone who likes their dribblers, their skill moves, got a whole load of fun moves here, loads of skills. So it can be really fun on the ball. But yeah, like I say, skill-wise, you're going to need to give this guy some end product ASAP. But let's go train up on eFootball Hub. So how good is this Doku card? It is pretty solid. To be fair, that low pass isn't as bad as it sometimes is on Doku. It's at least at the 80 mark. That's not too bad. But I would still give him one touch pass and 3 passing to back that up. Yeah, it's pretty solid looking. So we've had quite a few versions of Doku up to this point. We've had a bunch of Player of the Week cards. The better ones, there's a couple of boosters are slightly better than this one. So it's not as good as all of his Player of the Week cards. Similar story with his highlights, to be honest. It's around about the level of his better highlight cards, but there are a couple of highlight cards that are slightly better than this one as well. So it's not the best version of Doku, but it's a pretty solid one. He's had a pretty mixed boost from his GP card. Decent boost on his tight possession. Looks like they put his defensive engagement up by about 8. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. As I said when I was reviewing the summer transfers packet, some of the cards, it looks like they've done a massive boost on defensive engagement. Don't know why, but it is what it is. Have they taken 5 points away from aggression? It's another strange one, but again, he'll probably get them back if he gets some Player of the Week. So yeah, that's about it really. Solid looking Doku card. Obviously, he's quite decent at dribbling. I mean, 99 for dribbling, crikey. And he is rapid as hell. Yeah, this we can spare a few points, I think, from 1 and 2 areas here if we wanted to kind of beef up any areas. I think finishing is the one area you'd really want to beef up. To get his crossing to an even half decent level, it would take that many points. I don't think it'd be worth it. I think you're going to focus on making this guy a left winger, which is what he's supposed to be, and just have him cutting aside to his right foot, in which case the low pass is okay, and then it's just the finishing really. I think that finishing needs to get a bit of a boost. I think the long range curler would be a really big addition to his skills. Maybe his first time shot, maybe his long range shooting, but I think long range curler would probably be the biggest difference maker. Well worth giving him that. So can we get that finishing attribute a bit higher? That's the question. I think we can spare 1 off attack awareness. I won't go below 80. That's giving us 3 points. There's 1 on defending, which we don't need clearly. So that's to 4 points. Stick him straight onto shooting. Could you afford to take any off dribbling? That's a tricky one. And it's likewise low body. So low body, can you afford to lose a bit of speed? Yes. Do you want to lose any kicking power? I'm a big fan of kicking power when it comes to shooting. Obviously, we established a while ago that kicking power doesn't affect how much power you put in your passes, but I'm still waiting for someone to confirm whether kicking power has any effect on the accuracy of your passes. So, for example, if you're on one side of the pitch and you play a pass, maximum power to the other side of the pitch, if you've got low kicking power, I would think in theory that would impair the accuracy of the pass, but no one's confirmed that yet, as far as I'm aware. But certainly with shooting, I do like some kicking power behind my shots. It really can be a difference maker. So. Yeah, with this guy, I think shooting is going to be quite important, coming off that left wing onto his right foot, getting shots away. So, can you lose some speed? Yeah, but the kicking power is not brilliant. I'm not sure I want to lose any of that kicking power. So, lower body for me, I'm not sure I want to go any lower. And then dribbling. Can we afford to lose a bit of ball control? Yes. Dribbling, definitely. We could take a bunch of points off there. But do you want to go low on tight possession? You know, even just losing 1 off tight possession, you go -2 because you're at that 86, 88 mark. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I'd be tempted to just leave him as he is there. We've not changed much, but I don't think it's really efficient to change anything more. I think I'd be inclined to just leave it as it is. He's got crazy dribbling. He's gonna be rapid as hell. Good balance as well. He's gonna feel fun on the ball, this guy. And yeah, it's just really going to come down to a bit of end product. Like I say, the low pass isn't quite as bad as it sometimes is. I would expect them not to be a bit lower. So we've at least got 80 low pass. I would give him the passing skills, 1 touch and through, and then I'll give him long range curl as well. If you do that, you've got a left winger who's going to be rapid. Who's going to have you're going to have a lot of fun dribbling with him, especially if you like doing your skill moves. So yeah, just one or two skills to give him more in product. And I think with that build there, which is only slightly tweaked from his auto allocation, could be a really fun one to pick up. You may have a better version of Doku, but if you don't and you want a good version of him, this is like a solid card to pick up. Just in terms of other positions, the only other positions you can train him for are striker and SS. Could you make him a centre forward? I don't think so, because that finishing is going to suck, I think. We'll try it anyway, though. Wow, yeah. So finishing all the way up to 78 fully boosted. No, thank you. And you've lost a load of points off dribbling. Yeah, I don't think you're going to want to do that. This guy's definitely going to be a wide forward. I mean, SS maybe. That's pretty much exactly what it was before that build, isn't it? A bit more on shooting. They've taken 2 off low body, put 2 on shooting. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. You could get away with him as an SS. He's a bit lacking in physical strength, and the passing's not amazing. You need to give him one-touch passing, through passing. Be careful with his passing, but then you could, if you wanted to, position training for SS, and he could be a fun one. It'll be great on the ball still. I'm not sure that's where he'd be best. I think he's best wide left. I'll just leave him on auto allocation wide left, which isn't far from what we just did when I just tweaked a couple of things. What was it I did? I just did 1 off defending, 1 off dexterity. That was it. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, I'll just do that, just a slight tweak. I think it's worthwhile. But yeah, you basically got a tricky little winger. If you like your dribblers, you like dribbling, doing your skill moves, could be a lot of fun. You may already have a better version of them. There have been better versions. This isn't the best Doku card we've had, but if you don't have a good Doku card, it's certainly a solid version of him. And if he's your kind of player, it could be a lot of fun, especially for that English League challenge. So yeah, fun winger this one. Could be a really fun card to pick up for quite a few people. Right, where we go next? Let's build up to Rijkaard. We'll go to Xavi Simons first. So, Xavi Simons, whole player, got a face scan. Taller than he once was. If you've been playing the game long enough, you'll know that he used to be tiny. I think he's 168. There's a couple of cards of him when he was that high. I've still got his GP card when he's 168. It's got that low centre of gravity, still a fun one, even though he's only a 3-star GP card. But yeah, whole player, unwavering form, no club affiliation. That's one negative straight away with this card. It sounds like he might well be coming to Chelsea or Man City. So it looks like there will be some English League compatible versions of Simons in the near future if he does come to the Premier League. But for this card, no league challenges you can use him in, which is a real shame. But in terms of overall ability, I expect he's going to be good. We'll find out in a second. Unwavering form. And then skill-wise, you've got 1 touch and through for your end product. And then you've got a bunch of skill moves. It's going to be lovely on the ball. But yeah, let's jump over to eFootball. But let's just get him trained up. Let's see how good this Simons card is. And yeah, it's pretty decent looking. It's a decent card. Like I say, I've had quite a few Simons cards. We've had Player of the Week, Highlight, Showtime. His Showtime card obviously is the best one we've had. There have been a few cards slightly better than this one. But again, like with Doku, it's a solid version. Not the best, but it's a solid one. If you don't have a Simons card, it will be a very, very nice one to pick up if you want him, if he's your type of player. The way they boost from his GP card at level 1, they boost his attacking awareness. Defensive engagement, I think, as well. Those are the highest ones, I think, in terms of which attributes have been boosted the most. Yeah, and he's looking pretty tidy. I'm not sure I'd do a great deal with the auto allocation. To be honest, I'd be tempted to maybe nick a bit off dexterity. Yeah, because I'd like to get the low pass up a little bit. I think I'll probably just do that. You could nick a couple of shooting. I don't think you need that high. You leave it at the 80 mark. If you want to stick a bit more on maybe on the speed. He's not got a great deal of speed or kicking power. But yeah, I wouldn't want to spare anything off dribbling. He's lovely on the ball. I wouldn't want to sacrifice on that. I do think it's worth getting his low pass up a little bit. It's not going to make a massive difference. He does take 6 points, so some people might prefer to leave it where it is. And then you can just put a few points back onto either dexterity, get him all the way up to the 88 mark attacking awareness, which is very nice. Or give him more speed, get the kicking power up to 88, the speed up to 85. A couple of ways you can play it, to be honest. I'm not sure which is the best way. I think personally I'll go with the passing. Certainly if I'm going to play him as an attacking midfielder, I would do that. So if we assume that was my attacking midfield build, and this is more of an SS build, maybe. Yeah, it depends where your preferences lie. That would certainly work. Get him a bit more pace. Certainly if you're going to play him out wide. And if you're going to play him out wide, you could argue passing is not as important, in which case you could get a speed at least up to 88. And those last couple of points, which is like put it on passing, get that lofted to 80. Yeah, if you're going to play him out wide, that could work. It's not rapid. I like the speed and acceleration to be at least 90 on a wide man. You're not far off it. Kicking power behind his shot's nice. Balance 92 is great. Decent stamina. We've not touched him on the ball. Still lovely on the ball. Like I say, the passing is not as high now, but if he's going to be a wide man, not so important. If you play him as a wide forward, you will not have an active playing style. If you're going to do that, I often say this, in my personal opinion, I would rather have him as an SS out wide, so he's got the whole player playing style active, rather than playing him as a wide forward without an active playing style. I'm not sure how much difference that would make, but I do like the whole player playing style. You know he's going to make those attacking runs and try and kind of burst into those spaces. So yeah, I would personally prefer him as an SS out wide as a whole player rather than a wide forward without an active playing style. Again, at some point I'll get to wide forwards and wingers and I'll cover that in terms of how he's going to play without an active playing style. But yeah, SS out wide or wide forward, you can do that, and I'd build him something like that. A bit of pace, great balance and on the ball, and a bit of end product. If you're going to play on wide left, I would definitely give him long range curler. You could maybe give him first line shot and long range shooting as well, but long range curler, I think coming off that left wing will be well worth giving him, make a big difference. You can make him a centre forward. Can you make him a good one? Not bad. Not bad, you know. Can we get that finishing a bit higher? I mean, if you increase the shooting by just 1, you go 86 to 88. Not going to touch the attacking awareness. I like that at 90. Oh, they put 4 on aerial. We don't need that. Bosh, straight onto finishing. Gets them up to 88. 1 point left. I'm going to put that on passing. Get the low pass to 80. Without an active playing style, again, I can't really give you the definitive answer yet, but I will be able to soon when I get to making the video on strikers without an active playing style. But in my personal experience, it works okay. I've used players without an active playing style up front before and they've been fine. Look at the statistics, look at the his attributes. He looks like he could be pretty decent there. Not too strong physically. That might concern you in the middle of the park up against centre backs. He's probably going to get bodied physically at times, but he's got a good attacking awareness. The finishing's decent. Very nice on the ball. He's going to have really nice passing for a centre forward with 1-touch passing, 3 passing. Outstanding balance. And he's not got great speed, but he does have good acceleration. So yeah, you could make him a centre forward. I'm not sure I'd recommend you do that necessarily. And you would need at least 1 position trainer, possibly about 1,000. Who knows? But yeah, you do have that option if you really wanted to do that. But I do think he's going to be best as probably an SS or maybe he's out wide or an attacking fielder. The initial build we did. Let's go back to that auto allocation and just put the passing back up like I did. Yeah, attacking field as well. I think SS, attacking field, or playing them out wide, whether it's SS or wide forward. It can be very effective. In terms of out wide, I'm not going to rebuild him again the way I did for out wide, but if you did that kind of a build, you could position trainers for left midfield or right midfield, and if you make him a left mid or a right mid, he will be a whole player. That whole player playing style will be active left mid and right mid. I really like having a whole player left mid or right mid. It's something I like a lot, so as a left mid or right mid, I think it'd be very nice. I'm pretty sure he used to be left mid, right mid? I know I've got a player of the week version on one of my accounts, and he can definitely play left midfield on that version of him. I've used him in left midfield on that account. It's been decent. So yeah, you could use him in left mid or right mid as the whole player. Centre midfield, I always say the same thing. He's not strong physically. He's not strong defensively. I wouldn't play him centre mid. If you're going to use him anywhere in the middle of the park, you might as well just push him a bit further forward as an attacking mid because he's so much better going forward than defensively. So yeah, could make him a left mid, right mid. Could even make him a striker, but with the positions he's already got, whether it's out wide, just behind the attackers and SS, or as an attacking midfielder, not the best version of Simons that we've had. And you can't use him in the league challenge, so 1 and 2 negatives there, but it's still good. If you do fancy having a Simons card, you don't really have one, it'll be a good one to pick up. But like I say, it's a shame there's no lead change for him really, but it's definitely a solid card. It's a versatile one as well with a few different ways you can use him. So yeah, 1 and 2 negatives, but still a pretty decent card. And there's only one left in this particular penalty game pack thing. It's Frank, of course. Let's have a look at Frank Rijkaard. So a little bit surprised I put Rijkaard in because he's a popular one in the game. It's got his face gun, obviously. Anchorman this time, very interesting. So he's normally a build-up, a destroyer, or an orchestrator. I don't think he's been an Anchorman before. It's a popular playing style. It's only going to be active as a defense midfielder. Unwavering form, strong, weaker foot, but he doesn't use it very often. And what is his booster? Counter, whatever the hell that means. So low pass, tackling, so again, I won't rant again, but those are not his stats at level 1. There will never ever be a situation in which those are his stats at level 1. Those are his stats at level 1. It's not a booster, it's a gimmick. So those are his stats at level 1. Bouncer, counter, whatever nonsense they call it. Those are his stats at level 1. Skill wise, has he got a showtime skill? Yeah, we've got visionary pass again, same as Kökçü. So 1 touch through, weighted, visionary, low loft. He's got all the passing skills, lovely. Defensively, man marking, interception, blocker, aerial superiority, fighting spirit. Great selection of skills. You don't really need anything else on him. If you're going to give him any more skills, I would say outside curler, acrobatic clearance. Doesn't really need much beyond that, to be honest. He's got all the most important ones. He's got a really good selection of skills. So it's looking pretty good so far, at least. Although 1 negative before we get over to eFootball Hub. No league challenge to use him in. That's one thing that the other versions of Rijkaard will always have over this one. You can't use this one in any league challenges. That's a big shame. But I think for a lot of people, you're going to be looking at this guy just for your main squad for divisions and so on. So how good is he going to be for that? Let's jump over to eFootball Hub and let's see how good this Rijkaard card actually is. And he's pretty decent. So yeah, you're obviously going to use him one or two ways. You could use him as a centre midfielder. We will cover that. But for the vast majority of people, he's either going to be a defensive midfielder with the anchorman playing style. I think for most people, that's what he's going to be. But he is always one of these players. So even if his registered position is DMF, you can always make him a good centre back as well. If you compare this Rijkaard card to other versions of him, it does actually stack up pretty well, at least in terms of the attributes. So I'll come to that in a second. So as a defensive midfielder, as far as I can see, he's had a couple of AC Milan booster cards, and it's only those ones really that are better as a defensive midfielder. I think he stacks up really well against the rest. And then as a centre back, I'll just briefly show you the auto allocation. As a centre back, as far as I see in terms of overall ability at least, it's only really the most recent AC Milan double boost, which is a destroyer, that goes higher than this in terms of overall ability. He stacks up really well against other versions of centre back. So like I say, in terms of the attributes at least, he's looking pretty good for a free card. Very generous, albeit without the league challenge, without the option of using him in the league challenge. But I say in terms of the attributes at least, because people have been talking about this in the Discord recently. Apparently, according to Konami, he suffered from some kind of rare leg deficiency, whereby as he grew older, his legs got shorter. Because on other versions of Rijkaard, he's got longer legs, he's got better leg coverage. So I don't know what went on there. My only guess is that someone at Konami said, you know what, for the penalty game, let's give him a really good card that everyone in the player base will be really happy with, which is obviously a great idea. And they allowed it to go so far that the decision was made, it was all final, there was no going back. And then suddenly someone from accounts burst into the room and said, oh, you can't do that, you can't give him a good card, that's not acceptable, we've got to do something to nerf it. So then some genius said, okay, we'll make his legs shorter. So yeah, we got a really strong looking Rijkaard card, but his legs are a bit shorter than they normally are. Awesome. But I will say, as much as having long legs is a benefit in certain positions, including defensive midfield and centre back, for making those interceptions, it's not the end of the day. It's not the be all and end all. It's not necessarily gonna make or break him. Yes, he won't be as good at interceptions as other versions, just based on the fact his legs aren't quite as long, his leg coverage isn't as great, but his legs aren't short. They're just shorter than they normally are. So it's a bit of a shame they've done that, but he's not got short legs all of a sudden. They're just not as long as they normally are. And looking at the attributes, as you can see, he's still very good. So yes, the fact his legs have shrunk for some bizarre reason is a bit of a negative. And obviously the fact you can't use him in the league challenge is a negative as well, but it's still a Rijkaard card and it's still a good one. So yeah, let's just see how he trains up then. So like I say, you've got a few ways you can use him. Let's start as centre back, we'll work our way up. So as a centre back, as you can see, strong, looking good. Jumping is not brilliant. He's about 6'3", decent height. Jumping is not amazing. He's got aerial superiority. What's the height? Okay, so 277.4. He does have good vertical reach. It's not amazing, but it's strong enough. We could probably get that even higher though. Defending's gone up to 16. Oof, do you need to do that? Well, if you just want to focus on defensive ability, you don't really mind the aerial thing. What you could do is you could just do that. There's one on passing for some reason. Those last two I'll put on dexterity. Yeah, if you're not too bothered about his aerial ability, you just want to be able to defend and a bit of physical strength and a bit of pace, you could well just say that's the build. I would not disagree with that at all. Lovely down the left for a centre back, defensively very strong, bit of pace about him, not rapid obviously, but decent pace for centre back. The aerial, like I say, this is a build where the aerial is not so important to you. Physical contact is fantastic. It's actually higher than mine. I've got the most recent Netherlands version. It's a build up. I'm very happy with him. But mine's got the physical contact on mine only goes to I think 92, 93, something like that. So slightly jealous of that, although mine's got better jumping. But yeah, as you can see on the whole, really good centre back. If you do want him to have a bit more aerial ability, if you're worried about coming up against people with Jan Koller and all, and Nunez and whichever, Lorenzo Luca, giant strikers spamming crosses, then you could go all the way down to 12 defending, and as I always explain with the way the points get allocated, after 12 the next four cost you 4 points each. So if we go down to 12 in defending, we stay over 90 for all the most important ones, maybe below 90 aggression, but it's close enough. But we just freed up 16 points there. I'm going straight to 12 in aerial. He gets a jumping to 90, he gets his physical contact to 99, which is insane. And if we put those last 4 points on goalkeeper 1, his jumping height now is 282.7. So that is really strong. If you get your vertical reach over 280, you're going to win the majority of headers. Obviously, it depends who you're up against, but he's going to be competitive even against the likes of Koller. I'm not saying he's going to dominate Koller, but for a guy with his height, that physical contact as well. Physical contact does make a difference when you're challenging for headers. Something to keep in mind. So yeah, I'll just remember the booster. I'm not going to forget that booster. I'm gonna make a point of not forgetting the second booster on my review videos for eFootball 26. But yeah, that to me is could be a very, very good centre back against big tall strikers if your opponent's spamming crosses. So I'll do a booster on this one. For this one, the one thing I want to boost that heading is at 89, and I think that's going to be. It's going to have to be aerial, isn't it? I guess. Physical contact 100. This guy's going to be an absolute bully. Yeah, I'll be tempted to go aerial. If you're not too bothered about heading, I mean, 89 is good enough, obviously. Then you've got a bunch of defending ones. Usually with a defensive player, I'll just throw a few randoms on. You get anything defensive, I'll say happy days. It'll do the job. You could put defending on him. You could put dueling. It's quite fun to get that physical contact up to 100, actually, isn't it? Let's see if we can do that. Physicality, there you go. Obviously, physicality is going to do it. Is there another one? Shutdown? No, that doesn't quite do it. I mean, any of the defensive ones, like I say, would do it. But aerial or physicality, you don't often see a centre out with 100 physical contact. Yikes. So yeah, and if you've got a manager that gives you a boost in physical contact, can you do it on here actually? Who gives you physical contact? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm sure isn't it Amarim? The new Amarim card? No? Where is he? I'll be here or there if I keep running through all of them, won't I? Which is a manager that'll give you more physical contact? Mourinho? Maybe you can't go past 100. I thought the boosters went past the... we can make Rijkaard the manager for Rijkaard. How fitting. Maybe it doesn't then. I'm pretty sure Vieira gives you physical contact. Right, I'll leave that. But yeah, you can at least get to 100 physical contact. So like I say, you want to make him an aerial beast to deal with the likes of Collar. Could be fantastic for you. But if you're not too worried about the aerial stuff, you go back to what I just did before that. Just make him insane defensively. And again, that's with the physicality booster, but you can go defending, you can go dueling. Like I say, I'll personally just chuck a few randoms on until you get a defensive one that's physicality, shutdown. I don't think there's a massive difference. I'm not a big fan of these boosters, but there's a bunch you can do. But at least this time I remembered. There you go. So yeah, as a centre-back, a couple of ways you can build him, but he could be very, very good. And then if we move him up to his registered position, defensive mid, which is where I think most people would use him because he's an anchor man. A lot of people love the anchor man playing style. It is good. I personally prefer to use orchestrators, destroyers, and box to boxes because I like my midfielders to push forward a bit. That's just the system I use. I use a double pivot. I do use anchorman sometimes, but a lot of people do really like an anchorman to give them that security in front of the defence. As I always say, it might come down to that left column really. A lot of people will be absolutely fine with those attributes. If you just want to keep it simple when you get on the ball and just focus on being able to defend and stuff, then that auto allocation could be absolutely fine for you. If you gave him the passing booster, or even actually technique is way better because then you get ball control to 80 and low pass to 90. Yeah, it might seem strange giving technique on an anchorman when his main job's to defend, but he's already brilliant at defending and he's already very strong physically. I would give him technique, just nudging ball control and low pass up to to 80 and 90 respectively. It looks pretty nice to me. I think it could be very, very nice as a defensive midfielder. If you wanted to make him more of a kind of like an orchestrator, just make him a bit better at passing. He's already got a bunch of passing skills, including that visionary pass, remember. He's got that showtime skill. I just noticed as well they've gone to 13 on defending. That's not very efficient, is it? I always call him out for that. You can't trust auto allocation. I mean, the perfect example is the big time Ronaldinho card. He goes to 12 on dribbling, but his dribbling's maxed out at 11, so it's literally pointless going to 12. So you cannot trust auto allocation. So I'm going to go back to 12 on defending. That gives us 4 points. I'd personally make him a bit better on the ball there. I know he's an anchor man. He's mainly there to defend, but like I say, we're going to do a slightly different build now. I'm just going to nick a couple of lower body. And I'm going to just make him even better on the ball, actually. Yeah, to be honest, it's not far removed from the auto allocation or the way we tweak the auto allocation there, but it just makes him that a little bit more comfortable on the ball. Still very strong defensively, still strong physically, but it's really just lost a bit of stamina, to be honest, and we've nudged up his passing and on the ball. I'm leaving it on technique because, again, I think technique is the perfect one if you're going to use him as a DMF, whichever way you use him, because that helps just nudge his low pass and ball control up a little bit. So yeah, whichever way you use him as a DMF, it looks very solid. It is a shame you can't use him in the league challenge, but certainly for divs, I think he's very, very strong. And I'm quite surprised they've given him to us, to be honest. Yes, they've made his legs shorter for whatever weird reason, and he can't use him in the league challenge, but it's still a very good card. Anyone who's lacking an anchor man in their squad, or even just a centre back or any kind of defensive midfielder, I think it'll be a really, really nice addition. That's a very good freebie. I always criticise them for their bad decisions they make, but outside of the negatives with this card, it's still a Rijkaard card, and it's still a really good one. I think it's great they've given us this one, even though I don't personally need him because I'm happy with the one I've got. And there is also a centre midfield, before I forget. And I just realised you can actually train him for left and right midfield. Surely ain't Rijkaard a cross spammer? I think I did this when I was looking at the big time pack, wasn't I? you kind of can, actually. I'm going to lose a lot. I'm going to start losing a lot of subscribers if I keep messing around making midfielders wingers. But what the hell? Can you make him a cross spammer? Yeah, kinda. Give him a bit more dexterity. If you really want to. I mean, he's not brilliant, is he? He's not brilliant on the ball. You give him pinpoint crossing, his crossing will be all right. Not amazing, not the quickest. Yeah, let's forget I ever did that. And but let's go to auto allocation centre mid though. So auto allocation as a centre mid. If we made him an all rounder, I seem to remember when I was looking at the big time cards in that big time pack recently, I was surprised how good he was as a centre midfielder. And this one's looking good as a centre mid as well. Remember, he is good at passing, but he's got all those passing skills, including visionary pass. So if you make him a centre midfielder, won't have an active playing style, pardon me, but with that passing, he could be pretty effective. I want to get that dexterity up a bit, want a bit more attacking awareness on him. Don't need quite as much stamina. I'd like him a bit better on the ball, actually. Could be nick a bit of defending, give him a bit more dexterity. Yeah, a bit more anyway. It's a shame you can't get the only booster that gives you. Oh, we've got technique on still. My bad. The only booster that gets your attack awareness up is Striker's Instinct, and I don't think that's really the most sensible choice for a booster on him. It would be nice to get that attack awareness up to 80. I think what I'll do, I'll leave it at 78, and I'm just gonna do. In fact, I'm gonna use a technique booster again. I think that's the best one again. Get the low pass up. 4 points left. I'm going to get his area up to 90. Physical contact, sorry, up to 90. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Yeah, I don't think he'd be amazing as an all-rounder, as a centre midfielder, but pretty effective. It's the next position that I'm going to cover for players not having an active playing style. He won't have an active playing style there, so it'll be interesting when I do that video to find out what impact that does have. But again, I've used players without an active playing style in all positions. It's not been an issue for me. I've used I think the most recently I played a run of games with Zakaria as a centre midfielder actually, and he was pretty effective for me. I was quite pleased with him. He seemed to play like a box to box. Like I say, I'll be able to give you more definitive answers soon when I do that video. But yeah, without an active playing style, whether he plays like a box to box or however he plays, look at the attributes. He could be pretty decent. His main strength will obviously be the passing, and his passing will be very good with the attributes, and especially with the skills and visionary pass. Is it the way you're going to want to use this guy? You're going to get the most value out of him that way? Probably not. But you do have that option. I'm just going to give you that option. I'm not going to say you should do that. It's not a recommendation. I'm just showing you what can be done. But yeah, I think it certainly is. I'm just going to turn that manager boost off actually because that's annoying me. Can you not turn it off? Yeah, you can. There you go. But yeah, I think as a DMF is how most people are going to use this guy. Of course, my phone's going off because I'm recording. As a DMF with the Anchorman playing style, surprised they've given him this Rijkaard card. Yes, they've nerfed his legs. They've sounds so weird, nerfed his legs. No league challenge, but it's a good Anchorman card. Anyone who really needs an Anchorman, especially a legend who's got permanent B form, I think it's a really, really great freebie to have. And as a centre-back as well, whether you make him a beast in the air, whether you just make him a beast defensively, he's a really, really good centre-back as well. So yeah, surprised that he's in this pack to some extent. It's a good one. I know we had good ones last time. Tony Adams was a very good one, but this is a good one as well. Yes, 1 or 2 negatives, but centre-back, defensive mid, maybe even centre midfield. This to me is like a really good freebie. So yeah, I imagine a lot of people will be very, very pleased with this Rijkaard card. It's a really good one. Right, so let's move on to the Raúl box, formerly known as the Drogba box. So in here we got some fantastic 1-stars. Which one of these should we review? No, I'm just kidding, obviously. Let's start with Dimarco. Federico Dimarco. So he used to be down as a left-back fullback finisher. These days, he is a cross-specialist left midfielder. He's got unwavering form. He's got a face scan, of course. I don't think anything's really changed in terms of his profile. It looks like the usual stuff. So he's got a bit of everything really. He's kind of got all the skills you'd want either for an attacking fullback or for a left winger. Got interception and acrobatic clearance defensively. Then he's more about going forward, obviously. Long range shoot. He's got a bunch of shooting skills there. And he's got one touch pass weighted and pinpoint crossing as well. He's always got nice crossing in the game, Dimarco. Outside curl as well. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's train him up. See how good this Dimarco card is. So, one negative with this Dimarco card is the fact he's not a left back anymore. A lot of left backs, if you train them to play as a left midfielder, it's kind of like when fullbacks are trained as centre backs. There are a lot of kind of glitch wingers. Dimarco always used to be one of these cards that he was a good left back, but if you train him as a left winger, he could be really, really good. I've had a couple of Dimarco cards, and the one that I've got now, I've sometimes trained him as a left winger, and he's really, really good. He's got a bit of pace. He's tidy on the ball, and his crossing is absolutely deadly. So the fact that he's now a left midfielder, he's actually not as good as a left midfielder as he used to be as a left back. Strangely, I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but yeah, it's not the best version of Dimarco depending on how you want to use him. But one thing he does have, cross specialist playing style. If that suits you, if you like a cross specialist, then that's obviously a big advantage over when he was a fullback finisher. So we've had a lot of versions of Dimarco to get into the previous versions. We've had a few player of the week versions. There's a booster version that's better than this one. Otherwise, they're all pretty similar, just kind of stat shuffled around a bit. In terms of highlight cards of Dimarco trainable versions, we've had one left midfield cross specialist version from an Italy pack. Pretty similar to this one overall. Again, the stats kind of shuffled around a little bit. As for his other highlight cards, as I mentioned, they're all left backs, fullback finishers. He's had a Showtime, obviously that's the best one we've had of him. Most of the rest are better as a left back and as a left midfielder, as I mentioned, which is a bit of a shame. So this isn't the best version of Dimarco, certainly, but you might like the cross specialist playing style, and it's still looking like a solid card. In terms of how they're boosting from his GP card, it looks like a big boost on his defensive engagement. They've taken a whole lot of points away from his aggression. I don't know why they're doing that. Weird. I'm assuming that's what they're doing. It looks like it. I think we've lost a few points off tackling as well. That's a bit of a shame. That's about it, really. Nothing else significant I can see. We've got a bit of pace on him. Got fantastic kicking power. Got fantastic crossing, basically. Lofted 92, curl 92, kicking power 97. He's got pinpoint crossing. This guy has got some seriously, seriously good crossing on him. That's really what you're looking at here. Obviously, he's a cross specialist, and it's obvious that's where his strengths are. He's got some pace as well. Get him up and down that left wing, whips and crosses in, and he'll be putting the ball on your strikers' heads. If that's the way you like to play, he could be a really, really nice left midfielder for you. If that's not the way you like to play, if you prefer inverted wingers or you don't really like wingers, he might not be great for you, but you can still make him a left back. Can you make him a good left back? Not really. Defensive run is 71, attacking is 74, aggression 84. That's 8 on defending as well. Can we spare points anywhere to make him a bit better? Not really. I don't really want to lose any of that stamina. Yeah, I think as a left back, he'd be a bit disappointing. You could do it. It'd be a very attacking left back, as I've already found. I have covered fullbacks with those videos I've been doing on inactive playing styles. If you play someone at fullback without an active playing style, they're basically an attacking fullback, and he would be very attacking because he's just not great defensively. So I don't really rate this card as a left back. Sneaky centre back? I don't think so. No, absolutely not. Not looking good as a sneaky centre back. What about making him a centre midfielder or a defensive midfielder? Hang on, let's just see. Auto allocation DMF? No, not really. Defensively, he's not great. Low pass isn't great. Centre mid? Looking a bit better, but really weak defensively. Don't know about that. If you gave him through passing, fighting spirit, maybe you could use him as a centre midfielder, but I'm not sure. I don't really think there's enough quality there for it to be worthwhile for all the position trainers and a few skill trainers as well. Attacking mid? Maybe. Well, actually, maybe not. Low pass is horrible. 82. Yeah, I think this guy's definitely going to be one that you're going to get the most value out of when you play him left wing. It's just a question of whether he's the type of wing you want, because if you don't like using old school wingers and you don't like spamming crosses, I don't think this guy's going to be your cup of tea at all. I think it's pretty clear what he's best at. I don't think I'd really shuffle the points around. You can nick a couple of passes in there, make him a little bit better on the ball. You can nick a couple of shooting as well. Can we just get 3 more points from somewhere? Beef is dribbling up a little bit, getting to the 88 mark for dribbling. Don't know. What if we took a couple of lower body? You could do that. Maybe. Nudge his balance up to 80. Yeah, I'd be tempted to do that. It's a shame to lose a bit of speed, but you can certainly lose the kicking power. Stamina's alright on a wide man. We made him a bit more comfortable on the ball there. I'd be tempted to do that. He's still got that 90 lofted pass, 90 curl, 95 kicking power. He's still going to have fantastic crossing. So you could do that. We could leave him on auto allocation. I'll leave him on auto allocation to finish up. But like I say, if you've got a previous highlight card of Dimarco, one of the left back ones, you outside of the playing style, you've got one as better as a left back and as a left midfielder. Especially you've got the Showtime one. Depending which player of the week card, you might have one that's slightly better than this one as well. So this isn't the best version of Dimarco that we've had, but if you don't have a version already, you like putting a lot of crosses in, left wing, his left foot when you're delivering crosses from the left wing for your big strikers, could be very, very, very effective for you. But outside of that, for a lot of people, it probably is one of the more disappointing cards out of these packs. Right, who's next? Rafael Leão is next. So, Rafael Leão, this is not the first version we've had of him. We've had a lot of Rafael Leão cards. It's a Portugal version, still got his AC Milan affiliation though, so he's one for the Italian League Challenge. Prolific winger, left wing, can play as a striker. He seems to be playing as a striker under Allegri, left midfield as well. Only standard form. Skill-wise, I mean, they've not really changed anything, I don't think. The usual skills, got a whole bunch of skill moves, of course. Got a long range curler, very good one to have, likewise through passing. So yeah, pretty good section skills there for a winger. Let's go train him up on eFootball Hub. How good is this Rafael Leão card? It's decent, but it's not the best version we've had. So we've had a lot of Rafael Leão cards. Obviously, we've had Showtime and Legend versions. Goes without saying, those are the best versions we've had of him. But even when you look at the regular kind of highlights and player of the week cards, we've had loads of better ones. So not necessarily the worst Leão card we've had, but it's definitely not the best. We've had quite a few that are better than this one. I think it's one of these cards where if you've got a Leão card, you're probably not going to want this one. You're not going to have any need for it. If you don't have a Rafael Leão card, if you're quite new to the game, it's definitely going to be a good one. Rapid as hell. Got a bit of physical strength about him. In fact, I thought his physical strength was normally higher than that. Oh, interesting. But yeah, he's rapid as hell though, and he's great on the ball. Lacking in product there. He's got through passing, but that low pass and low lofted pass 71 is not great. Be very careful with his passing if you use this card. Finishing 76, not too bad. Could be worse. But yeah, honestly, this is a little bit underwhelming as a Rafael Leão card. Yes, he's got some qualities there. The pace and the dribbling are outstanding, but outside of that, nothing too exciting really going on with this card. If you look at his GP card, the biggest boost looks like stamina and again defensive engagement. Really strange. I don't know if I'm misreading something, but that seems to be what they've done. Apart from that, the other attributes aren't boosted so much. Nothing really interesting going on boost wise from his GP card. It's just a fairly underwhelming Rafael Leão card. But like I say though, if you don't have a Leão card already, it is definitely a good card. It's definitely going to be a good card. He's really good on the ball in game. He's a big boy. He's got really good dribbling. He's so quick. You look at that pace there, and the balance is decent as well. He might not be as strong as he sometimes is on like player of the week cards, and I've got his original legend card as well. He went into the 80s physical contact on my version, but that could be lower to be fair. Would I change anything around here? Probably not. I wouldn't want to dip on that ball control. You're going to go -2 as soon as you take one away from dribbling there. You could loose some from lower body in terms of his speed, but again, do you want to lose kicking power? Probably not. I mean, you can maybe just nick one there. Dexterity. You can nick a few off dexterity. I wouldn't want to go below 80 attacking awareness, but we've lost a bit off his balance there. And then it's a question of where do you put the points? Do you get his passing up to a slightly more respectable level where it's still not great? Or are you going to be focusing more on shooting? Just say you just want to get at shooting, get finishing up to 80. I think most people would probably prefer to do that. That might be the most efficient way to do it, to be honest. He's got long range curler, cutting on off that left wing onto his right foot, hitting those long range curlers. Yeah, that might be the way to do it. Get that finishing up to about 80 or so. So yeah, like I say, could be very effective for you. He's got some very good section skills for an inverted winger coming off that left wing. Long range curler and through passing for end product, and a bunch of skill moves there. He's going to be great on the ball. It's just a bit underwhelming for a Rafael Leão card, really. In terms of other positions, centre forward, what's auto allocation going to tell us? It's going to tell us no, because 80 finishing fully boosted is absolutely rubbish. Loads of qualities elsewhere for sure, but as a striker, 80 for finishing is not going to cut it. Just behind the attack, I mean, I don't think you can make his passing good enough, really. As an attacking mid, no. I mean, 75, absolutely not. SS, no. I think the build I just did where we played around with his passing and got the passing up to, I think, 75, didn't we? I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Or they put, no, there's more on dexterity. Yeah, I think that build I just did, which is pretty much that. I had those points on the finishing, get it up to 80, but if you took those points back from finishing, put it on passing instead as an SS, got through passing. If you're very careful with his passing, could do a job for you there as an SS, but I'm not so sure. I think really the best value you get from this card will be wide left, something like the auto allocation, or like I did, just to boost his finishing up to about the 80 mark. If you had to do that, I think it could be pretty effective. Certainly if you don't have a Rafael Leão card already, like I say, if you're new to the game, it could be a very nice one to pick up for a freebie. But I think for most people who've been playing the game for any length of time, you probably have one by now. There have been that many in Player of the Week and other packs, and it's really not the best version of him. So in isolation, yes, a good card. Could be a very handy one to have for the Italian League Challenge, but as far as, you know, a version of Rafael Leão, it's a little bit underwhelming, really. Yeah, next we'll look at Nico Schlotterbeck. So we have a build-up centre-back. He's a lefty, he's quite tall, 6'3", got a face scan, only standard form. Again, it's another card where there's no league challenge. I've had one or two already, so it's a bit of a shame there's no league challenge to use him in. Skill-wise, pretty good selection. Heading and aerial, and they've got interception, marking, sliding, acrobatic. So it's just blocker really that he's lacking. So if you're going to get this guy and use him a lot, blocker would be a very beneficial skill. He does need blocker. Apart from that, though, good selection skills. But let's train him up. We'll see how good he is. How good is this Schlotterbeck card? He's pretty decent. Yeah, he's pretty decent. We've had a few versions of Schlotterbeck. We've had a couple of Player of the Week cards. One was an extra front man. It wasn't quite so great. It's pretty poor, actually, defensively at least. We've had a build-up Player of the Week card as well. It's not far off this one, to be honest. But this one, I think, is slightly better. We've had a few highlights as well. They're all extra front man. This one's a build-up. But the extra front man highlight cards we've had, a couple of them are quite similar overall. But they're all kind of shuffled around a little bit here and there. This is a good version of Schlotterbeck, this. Looking at his GP card, the way they boosted him from his GP card, everything's been boosted by between 1 and 5. Defending's had a fair boost, and yeah, it's looking like a solid card, to be honest. That defensive awareness right on the 90 mark, and the rest of the defensive attributes are well into the 90s. Speed is pretty decent for centre back. Acceleration is not great, but with that much speed, I think he's okay for pace overall. Jumping 86 is not amazing, but 6'3", he's got aerial, 276.5 centimeters vertical reach, so yeah, he'll be okay in the air. Bit of physical strength on him. Be nice if he'd hit the 90 mark for that, but he's there or thereabouts. Yeah, it's a solid looking centre back card. I don't think I'd do a lot with the way the points are allocated. I wouldn't want to dip below 90 on defensive awareness. They've not done anything crazy by going over 12 on anything. It would be nice if we could nudge that physical contact up by 1. Just because if you increase that by 1, you get the 90 mark physical contact and you get jumping up by 2 from 86 to 88. But the only way you can realistically do that is if you were to take away some points from speed or acceleration, really. Do you really want to do that? I think most people probably don't. You could do that if you want. I'd be tempted, to be honest. I think most people wouldn't, but I'd be tempted. Get a bit more vertical reach on in there. Not a massive increase, but a bit of a boost there. You nudge that physical contact up a little bit. But whether you want to do that or whether you want to just leave him on auto allocation, that is a solid centre-back card. Defensively, absolutely spot on. Down the right there, he's not quite where I'd want him to be with 1 or 2 attributes, but he's close enough. Down the left there, the passing is actually pretty nice for a centre-back. 75 low, 79 lofted. It's got weighted pass as well down there. Got long range shooting, interestingly. But yeah, this is a nice centre-back card. That, to be honest, the one thing that really goes against this card is just the fact that you can't use him in the league challenge. But outside of that, it's pretty handy looking, and he will get live update now that he plays for now that Dortmund are a partner club, so he might get some AB form with him as well. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, it's a solid centre back card. This shame there's no league change for him. And yeah, like I say, 1 or 2 attributes a little bit lower than I'd like it to be on the right there, but nothing bad, no real weakness. I think that's a pretty solid centre back on the whole. You can make him a left back actually. You could just increase that proficiency by 1, and then you could be a left back. I'm not expecting him to be a good left back. What's the auto allocation going to tell us? Yeah, the pace is lacking there. I mean, if you took the defending down a bit, and yeah, I mean that pace isn't going to cut it. Speed, yeah, okay, you can get away with that speed, but with the acceleration solo, I don't know. That's a hell of a stretch. I'm going to leave him as a centre back. I don't think that's really worth looking at as a left back. Defensive midfield though, just quickly check that. That could work, to be fair. Although the stamina's horrible. He's really not great technically. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you took the defending right down, maybe nudge the passing up, bit more stamina. You could get away with him. You could get away with him as a defensive midfielder if you really don't mind the technicals being quite low, stamina's a bit low. I don't know. I'm not sure I fancy that. I don't think many people would. I think this guy's definitely very much a centre back. Like I say, it's a shame you can't use many league challenges, but for divisions and so on. So if you don't have a really, some really beefy options as centre back, I think it's a solid one. I think it's a solid centre back card. Nice left-footed build-up. The stats on the whole are looking pretty good. So yeah, shame there's no league challenge, but in terms of the attributes and how good he is, just needs the blocker skill really. But he's looking pretty strong. It's a fairly decent left centre back card that. Next we'll look at John McGinn. So we got John McGinn, box-to-box centre midfielder. I got a face scan. Only standard form, can use him in the English League Challenge. Skill-wise, looking at his GP card, it looks like he's, according to eFootball, he's lost interception, but I don't know if they've actually nerfed his GP card and taken it away from his GP card. It would be strange for him to take away a skill. But yeah, skill-wise, got a pretty decent selection here, but it's another one of these cards, another one of these midfielders where they're all pretty much all attacking skills really. There's nothing defensively. He does need interception. Maybe he's man marking, maybe he's blocker. Surprised he's not got fighting spirit actually. He could do with fighting spirit. And he also needs through passing. So yeah, there are a few skills he needs, this John McGinn card. But let's jump over to eFootball and train him up, see how good he actually is. And he's fairly solid, but not amazing. And if you look at other versions of him, it looks like it's the worst version we've had. We've had a couple of highlights. One was in some kind of Showtime box, I think. One was a nominating contract, the club icon one. There's also a Player of the Week card not long ago from an international week playing for Scotland. And this one doesn't look quite as good as any of them really. The oldest of the bunch, I think the club icon one, is not far off this really, pretty similar. But yeah, and obviously the stats get shuffled around a little bit, but this doesn't stack up particularly well in terms of his overall ability. It's not the best version of John McGinn. But yeah, like I say, he is a solid one. He does desperately need a few skills, but the attacking awareness sucks, the defensive awareness sucks, his tackling is not great. Apart from that, he's alright. He could be a kind of a useful option for the English League Challenge if you don't have many midfielders for the English League Challenge. But beyond that, yeah, I think we're definitely seeing that in this Raúl pack. They've not been quite as generous as they have been in the main penalty pack with Rijkaard and Kökçü and so on. A little bit of a step down to the cards in this one, but yeah, he's solid enough. It's not a bad card. It's just not a particularly great one. He does need a few skills. In terms of the point allocation, it's difficult. I'd love to nudge as low past to 90, but you're already up to 12 on passing. You need 4 points to get that any higher. He's okay on the ball. It's a shame his ball control is not a bit higher. It's not particularly high for centre mid. As I mentioned, the attacking awareness sucks. So does the defensive awareness. He's not going to be very responsive, this guy. Engagement's good. Tackling's not. Aggression's reasonable. Pace isn't too great, but he could be slower. A bit of kicking power, not a great deal of physical strength. I think they've done him dirty, to be honest, John McGinn. He's a very good player. I think he deserves probably at least 80 physical contact. Definitely deserves fighting spirit. I think he deserves a bit more in his defensive attributes. So yeah, I feel like they've done him dirty a little bit. Fantastic stamina, to be fair. So yeah, like I say, there are some qualities there. The passing's not bad. Great tight possession. There's some good attributes there, but there's some dodgy ones as well. It's not the best version of begin this. It's just not a brilliant card on the whole, really. In terms of other positions, if we went to auto allocation and DMF, I think, as we're going to see, he's not going to be great there. Yeah, defensive awareness 74 on a DMF, no thank you. And we've lost a bunch of points in other areas where we can't really afford to. If you're going to move him further up the pitch, attacking mid, maybe, but the attacking awareness isn't great. He's slow as hell. His passing is not brilliant. Yeah, I don't fancy him attacking mid. Wide midfield, maybe. He's a lefty. What about a cross spammer? Is that going to be our saving grace? Is John McGinn going to be a cross spammer for us? A bit more speed. Oh, hang on, no, because he's slow. Yeah, oh dear. Yeah, there's one or two things holding him back quite a bit in just about every position. This card really is looking a bit disappointing to me. It's a bit of a shame. I rate him in real life. I feel like he deserves a pretty decent card. He certainly deserves a better one than he's had, and this isn't as good as the previous ones he's had. There's not a lot in it. They're all a similar kind of level, but yeah, this card's, I mentioned the Rafael Leão card was a bit underwhelming. This one's certainly very underwhelming as well to me. I do think he's usable. I mean, I got his Player of the Week card, a recent one, which is a bit better than this on one of my other accounts, and I've used it, and it's not brilliant. And this one's not as good. Again, like I say, not a massive difference, but yeah, I'm struggling to say anything nice about it. I wish I could find at least one position where I could say, well, if you train him this way, or if you train him that way, then da 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 da. But whichever way you train him, there's something lacking. You know, attacking midfield, his passing is not really up to it. His attacking awareness isn't really up to it. Wide midfield, he's not really got the pace. Defense midfield, he's not good enough defensively. If we go back to auto allocation as a centre mid, tackling, awareness going forward and defensively, he's just lacking in one or two areas in every position. It's a bit of a shame, really, and he needs a few skills. So this, for me, I really don't want to sound too negative, but it's a bit of a dog card to me. It's a bit of a disappointment, really. Like I say, though, if you are quite new to the game, if you desperately need centre mid options for your English League squad, he could be a handy one. He could certainly do a job for you. The overall ability is not that bad, but it's not great either. There are one or two weaknesses in every position, really, with this card. So yeah, I hate to sound too negative about any card, but really for me, this isn't as good as I think McGinn deserves it to be. He might be getting on a bit now, about 30 odd, but still a good player. I think he's still good enough to deserve a better card than this one. It's a bit disappointing for me, this card. And the last one in this pack is Raúl. So we have Raúl, the dummy runner. Of course, he's got a face scan, unwavering form, but he's permanent B anyway. Has he got a booster? Oh, he's got a booster. What's that? Something to do with strikers and stuff. Strikers instinct, hooray. So attacking awareness, ball control, finishing, acceleration. So yeah, like I always say, it's not a booster, it's a gimmick. Those stats there before you activate the booster, those are never his stats, because the booster is always active at all times. So those are his stats at level 1, basically. There's no booster, it's a load of nonsense, but those are his stats at level 1. Skill wise, long range curl, long range shooting, first time shot, phenomenal finishing. We've got a showtime skill. Phenomenal finishing. It's a good one to have. Just means his shooting is always going to be his shooting won't be as impaired by quite so much if you hit the ball when you're a little bit off balance. If you get your shots away with this guy when you're not quite set up to get the shot away cleanly, phenomenal finishing will compensate, and you'll still be able to get your shots away pretty well. One touch pass and through passing as well. Got a really nice selection of skills on this guy. Let's go straight with the eFootball hub there. Let's train him up. How good is this Raúl card? It's pretty decent. So we've had a few Raúl cards. This is actually slightly better than the big time that was recently released. One advantage that big time card has over this one, though, is that it's a Real Madrid card. This one's a Schalke card. You cannot use this card in any league challenges, whereas the big time card, maybe it's not as good in terms of ability as this one, but you can use it in a Spanish league challenge. In terms of other versions of Raúl that we've had, the other ones are all whole player booster cards. Single boosters are actually pretty similar, to be honest, but again, they are Spanish league cards, and the stats are kind of shuffled around a bit from one to another. His double booster card is better in deeper positions than this one, but there's not much in it as a centre forward, really, though, to be honest. So this is actually, in terms of overall ability, pretty decent, this version of Raúl. And he's got that dummy runner playing style, which is obviously, as I always say, it's a very unique playing style. I'm a big fan of dummy runners. They offer you something very different. Might not necessarily be everyone's cup of tea. You might prefer him as a whole player, depending on what position you want to play him in. But yeah, as a dummy runner, it's a decent version of him. It's just going to depend on what how you want to use him. If we start with bear in mind his registered position is SS. I'm just going to auto allocate him centre forward, because I have a feeling they might get his finishing up to 90. Yeah, they do. So if you auto allocate as a centre forward, attacking where it's 96, the finishing goes over 90, acceleration is 95, even if his speed's not amazing. Good balance. Bit more physical strength than I would have expected Raúl to have, but they seem to be doing that on a lot of cards these days. They don't seem to pay too much attention to reality. On the ball, he's tidy enough. Decent passing for a centre forward. As a centre forward dummy runner, this looks pretty nice to me, to be honest. I think at first glance, just in terms of the overall ability for a kind of legend card, it might not look that exciting, but with that dummy runner playing style, the skills that he's got, fantastic attack awareness, that looks really interesting to me. It looks like a very nice guy. It's a shame you can't use him in any league challenges. I think for anyone who's got that many kind of beefy options in the striker and kind of SS area of the pitch, you might not get much of a look in like your division squad and so on. But if you're free to play, if you don't have that many legends and so on, I think this guy could be a really nice one to pick up. Like I say, I keep saying it, but dummy runs are very unique. You've got to just, we all got different ways of playing the game, formations and so on. When you get a dummy runner like this, you've just got to play him and just see how he fits into your team. Whether it's as a striker, SS, you've got a few positions you can play him in. It's easy to forget that dummy runner is an active playing style, attacking midfield as well. It's very interesting attacking midfield, some of the movement that they make from attacking midfield. You can play him left mid and left wing forward as well. You won't have an active playing style there, so you've got a few ways you can use him. But yeah, certainly as a dummy runner, give him a try. If you're not sure about the playing style, give him a try, see what happens, because it's a very unique one. They do have very interesting movement. But yeah, like I say, as an out-and-out centre forward, Don't think I'd change much from that build, to be honest. It'd be nice if you had a little bit more speed, maybe. To be honest, I'll just nick a few off aerial there. Straight onto low body, just get a speed from 86 to 88, get that +2. That for me is definitely worth doing. I think I would just do that, really. That to me looks very interesting as a centre forward. Could be a very nice build. As an SS, if we go back to the auto allocation, I think again the auto allocation's done a decent job for once. You know, got fantastic attacking awareness on him, really nice on the ball. Passing's decent. I wonder, could you nick a bit off his on the ball attributes there? Just get his passing up a bit. I think that's worth doing personally. Still very nice on the ball there. We get that low pass up to 84. He's got one touch and through as well. So that pretty decent passing just behind the attack. Finishing at 88. Not as high as it was, but for an SS, that's fine. Similar stats over here on the right hand side. So yeah, as an SS, again, a dummy on a playing style, again, making some interesting runs, drifting out wide, creating spaces for his attacking teammates. Yeah, very interesting. I'll probably build in something like that. Looks pretty nice. Attacking midfield, how good can we get his passing? Take a few off shooting there. And I almost forgot the booster again, but I'm not going to forget. I did say I'm not going to forget. We'll go back to centre forward in a second and we'll do a booster on him there as well. But I think for a booster on attack as an attack midfielder, we'll go with technique again. Because technique, where's it gone? Right at the bottom. Technique, you get his on the ball attributes as well as low pass. So then we only need to go up one higher on low pass to get to the 90 mark. I'm gonna do that, and I think that's about all I'm gonna do. Yeah, attacking midfield, I think I'd do that. It'd be nice if we had a bit more balance on him, but we've got pretty decent pace from attacking mid. Tidy on the ball, low pass at the 90 mark, fantastic attacking awareness. As a dummy runner playing from attacking midfield, he could be very, very interesting. It'd be very interesting to play him as an attacking midfielder, see how he does. Some very good ability there. Could be a really interesting one. Again, like I say, one touch pass and through passing. He's got his shooting skills as well. Could be a really interesting option as an attacking midfielder. Offers something very different. I did say I'll go back to the centre forward and SS as well. Let's go back to the auto allocation SS. What did I do as an SS? I gave him better passing, didn't I? Got an 84 low pass, and I got his lower body up a little bit, and I put one somewhere else, didn't I? Where did I put that last one? Aerial? I mean, that's roughly what I did as an SS anyways. So then the booster, I think this is one where it's not going to make a great deal of difference. If you play him as an SS, if you're going to build him roughly like this, which is, I think, roughly how I build him as an SS. We can get 3 points from there, actually. Hang on. What did I do as an SS? Let's see if we can get him 90 speed, shall we? Why not? Oh, I've got that technique booster still on. Hang on. I take it back. Forget about 90 speed because I want to get that type session back to 90. In fact, yeah, I think I would go with technique as an SS as well, actually. Yeah. It's another one. Like with Rijkaard, I'll use the same booster. AMF and SS. Because you get that type possession to 90. Another one on low pass. And those last 3 points, I probably would just go back on low body, to be honest. Or maybe some dexterity to get even more attacking awareness. With that dummy on a playing style, making some very interesting runs, yeah. I think I'll do that as an SS. Use the technique booster again. And then centre forward. Let's go back to the auto allocation centre forward because I didn't change much there, did I? I think I just took 3 off there and put one lower body, didn't I? Right, so what booster would I do as centre forward? Bear in mind I've got technique on again. I think I would do shooting. Get that finishing up a little bit because on a legend card these days, 90 isn't that amazing. 91, I think it was on 91, wasn't it? So 92 with the booster. Yeah, I think I would do shooting. You get a bit on finishing and then you get a bit on kicking power as well. What else do you get from shooting? Physical contact and ball control. Yeah, you could do the boost there as well. Yeah, shooting booster for me as a centre forward. And I think with that build, from the roughly the auto allocation, just nudging his speed up at the expense of physical contact, looks pretty nice to me. Looks very interesting. Yeah. Looks like a nice card. There's another decent one as a freebie. Could you play him wide left, wide right? He will not have an active playing style. Wide left, I don't know if he's going to have very good crossing as a left footer. Let's see what the auto allocation tells us. You could actually, you know, if you gave him pinpoint crossing, I don't think he'd be necessarily be amazing, but still got that boost on, by the way. Let's put the booster on crossing. Hang on. Can you make Raúl a cross spammer? Kinda. With pinpoint crossing, his crossing would be decent. It wouldn't be amazing, but it'd be decent. He's alright on the ball. Attacking where is fantastic again. good pace, bit of kicking power. Balance isn't amazing, but he's got a bit of physical strength. You could play him wide left as a crossbar, and he'd be decent, I reckon. Not amazing, but he could be decent. There's an option for you. Wide right, though, is a kind of inverted winger, cutting in onto his left foot. Let's see. So passing, definitely not so important. Take that booster off for a second. Make him a bit better on the ball. Got a bit of pace on him. Got 5 points left. Where are we going to put those? I'm going to one high low body, gets kicking power to 88 again. And the last two I'll go on shooting. And then for the booster, to be honest, you know what? I'm going to nick a bit off passing. I'm going to get one higher on dribbling. And then for the booster, I'm going to do... Am I going to do technique again? I think this might be one of these cards where... Yeah, so if you're going to use him as a right winger, cutting onto his left foot, I think there's a bunch you could use. Ball carrying, banter sister, technique. I quite like ball carrying there, actually. You get a bit more speed on him. You get that tight possession up to 90. Yeah, it's got long range curler and long range shooting and first time shot. It's got the passing skills. If you position train to play wide right, I don't know how you play as an SS on the right hand side. If you position him wide right and set him as an SS with that dummy runner playing style from out wide, is one thing I want to try. I will try that in a video at some point. It'd be interesting to see how he plays if he did that. But if you position train him for right wing forward and he had no active playing style, I reckon with these attributes he could be pretty nice. He could be pretty effective. Got the pace, got the on the ball ability. Definitely can be nice on the ball. Attacking rest is fantastic. Passing isn't amazing statistically, but he's got one touch and through, and then that finishing at 85 with the shooting skills, including long range curler, from that right wing cutting onto his left foot could be pretty decent. So, yeah, a few ways you can use this guy. I'll just leave him on his auto allocation, turn the booster off. Whether you're going to use him up front, behind the attack, left or right, there's a few ways you can use this card. It is a big shame you can't use him in the league any league challenges, but. And if you're, especially if you're free to play, if you don't have too many legend options in the kind of positions he can play, there's a few positions he can play. He's got good skills, he's got good attributes, he's got a unique playing style. It might not be the best legend card or even one of the best legend cards that we've had as a freebie, but I think it's one of the more unique ones. It's a very interesting one. Even though I was lucky enough to get the big time one recently, I'll be quite interested to try this one out because it's slightly better. And if you don't have a Raúl card, could be a very nice one to have. If you don't have a dummy runner card, could be a very interesting one to pick up. Like I say, well worth trying him out and seeing how he works with your system, whatever kind of system you got, whatever kind of formation and so on. So yeah, maybe it's not one of the best free legends that we've had, but it's definitely a very interesting one of the more unique ones. If you don't have a Raúl card, or if you don't have a legendary dummy runner or any dummy runner, it could well be a very interesting one to try out. I think a lot of people would be very happy if they get this guy, or when they get this guy, hopefully. Right, just one more to look at, and it is our lap 1 reward, Mr. Hazard. So it's a Real Madrid version, so you can use this one in the League Challenge. You can use them in the Spanish League Challenge. Got a face scan, obviously. Inconsistent form, which is a bit of a concern if you don't have the permanent B form. But when you got permanent B form, I'm a big fan of inconsistent form because you seem to get you get those up arrows more often. So B form combined with inconsistent form, I like that. I think that's a good thing. He's fairly two-footed. Offense creator booster. So what are the stats at level 1 when the booster is activated, which is always activated? It's a gimmick. I'm never going to stop ranting about that. Attacking awareness, ball control. So yeah, basically ignore the green dots. Those are his stats at level 1. And skill wise, so you got a bunch of skill moves there. You got your ball roll, double touch flip flat soul control. Heel trick's a nice one. Outside curl likewise, one touch and through. So you're dribbling, you're skilling, you're passing, you're well sorted. You just could do with some shooting skills really. Phenomenal pass as well. So you got your showtime skill on Hazard. So you got phenomenal pass. Interesting. He wasn't really about the passing, to be honest. I'm not saying he wasn't good at passing, but you'd have thought maybe Hazard, you give him momentum dribbling maybe, or acceleration burst. I think he had acceleration burst last time, but yeah, either way, I mean, I guess this is later in his career, and maybe he was focusing more on passing at Real Madrid. I don't know. He barely played for them, but yeah, we got phenomenal pass though. So we got some passing skills there. You got some really good skills on the ball. Just lacking some shooting skills really. So you do give him some shooting skills. Long range curl, long range shooting, first time shot. But let's train him up. Let's see how good he is. Let's go to eFootball Hub. He is decent. So my first reaction when I saw him in the penalty game was that he was going to be another Ribery. I had a quick look at his stats, and that pretty much, as you can see here, it kind of pretty much ties in with that initial feeling. He's probably a bit better than Ribery, but you are seeing obviously a little bit later in his career. I mean, he wasn't old at this point as such, but he had his injury problems. He's maybe lost a yard or two of pace by this point, so he's not got quite so much speed. He's not even got great acceleration, to be fair, but he's still fantastic on the ball. So yeah, I'd say it's a bit better than Ribery. It's a similar situation. All that technical ability, still going to feel fun on the ball. Just not quite as explosive as he was. We have had a couple of versions of Hazard, like I said, the one recently which I think had the acceleration burst. One's a whole player, one's a creative playmaker. They're both better, unsurprisingly. Although at level 1, this one seems to have a bit more attacking awareness and low pass. So yeah, not everything's better on those other two versions. This one could be competitive depending on how you train him and how you're going to use him. He's got a different playing style as well. He's a prolific winger this time. So how are you going to train him? It's going to depend where you want to use him. For me personally, if you're going to use him as a left winger, you're going to want to give him a bit more speed. You're going to need a bit more pace on him. This is auto allocation for left wing. It surprises me a bit. They've made him fantastic on the ball, but they just haven't given him much speed. So what can we do here? And I will remember to do a booster this time. Well, I say I will. I'll probably forget, even though it'll only be about 30 seconds from now when it comes to it. But you can definitely spare some points from dribbling there. To be honest, you can go right down to 7 there. If you're playing them out wide, passing is not as important. Let's just take all those off passing. Let's nick a couple of shooting. How many points can we spare for the lower body? We'll get up to 12. A couple more acceleration as well. Tell you what if, I know you always complain when they go over 12, but if we get to 89, I know it takes 4 points that last increase. Let's do that booster. And let's give him, you could give him agility. Okay, so now he might be in business. So speed and acceleration both to 90 there. Or you could give him ball carrying because we've taken quite a few points off his dribbling. Off his, the on the ball attributes. Yeah, maybe that one. I don't know. I think maybe it's agility. You could do it either way, but you can use a booster to get the speed and potentially acceleration as well, both up to 90 there. Get that kicking power to 94. Hello. Balance at 95. We have taken a bunch of points away from his dribbling, but he's still great on the ball. Attacking when it's over 90. For a wide man, the passing's fine. He's got one touch and through it and phenomenal passing, remember, so his passing should be fine. Finishing, we nicked a couple of points, but still at 80. If you give him a few shooting skills, I think that kind of a build for a wide man, I much prefer that to auto allocation. It could be very, very nice. Yeah, long wedge curler especially. You play him wide left, cutting in onto his right foot. Could be very interesting. Could be very interesting indeed. So, yeah, for me personally, left wing, that's how I would train him. Could you play him on the right? Position training for right wing forward. Let's just see. He's a right footer, so you're going to be spamming some crosses, I guess, if you do that. Let's just see. Can you make his you can make his crossing half decent actually. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Yeah. Again, I'm not recommending you do this, but if you're looking at Hazard, you don't really fancy an inverted winger. You don't fancy him through the middle, but you do like spamming crosses for your big strikers. If you position training for right wing forward, gave him pinpoint crossing, which he doesn't have, he could have a decent cross, good on the ball, a little bit of pace about him. You could make him a right winger. Not sure many people want to do that though. What about through the middle though? Let's see what he's like as an attack mid, because he's got that passing, hasn't he? Yeah, interesting. Very interesting actually. So with the auto allocation, the passing is looking very decent. On the ball, fantastic. The speed is not so important. So this is similar to the auto allocation at first, I think. We've got more on passing. We've lost a bit from dexterity, I think it is. So we've not got quite as much pace, but as an attack midfielder, that's not so important. He's going to be brilliant on the ball. He's got some nice passing on him. Remember, one touch through passing, and doesn't show any football hub, but he's got phenomenal passing as well. Could be very interesting in attacking mid. He won't have an active playing style. Again, I'll try and cover that soon in the video, how much of an issue that is. I don't expect it will be an issue. In my personal experience, it's not an issue. But certainly based on these stats, he looks like he could be very decent as an attack midfielder, to be honest. If you wanted a bit more mobility on him, you could easily nick a bunch of points off his dribbling if you wanted to. Not saying you should do, that's entirely up to you. But if you did, you could do that. Maybe it's that. Do you want that +2 in acceleration, or do you want to get his kicking power to 90? Your choice. And then you got that booster, of course, as well. I think, again, probably agility would be what I'd give him. Maybe his ball carrying. Not going to make a huge difference. Yeah, as an attacking midfielder on the ball and with his passing as well could be very, very neat. So you've definitely got the option there as an attacking mid. If you pushed up a bit further forward in SS, passing not as important. Where would I put his passing? You could probably get away with just going 4 on passing, to be honest. But the thing is, where do you really need the points elsewhere as an SS? Just take ball carrying off for a second there. Let's get his attacking whereas to 90 or 91. Should we give him a bit more shooting? Let's do that. And then we'll give him... Should we give him the shooting booster? Well, what about striker's instinct? What does striker's instinct give you? So you get the finishing, attacking awareness, ball control, acceleration, and what's shooting? Ball control, finishing, kicking power, physical contact. I think I'll probably go shooting. I think shooting and striker's instinct would probably be the best two for me as an SS with that kind of a build. Not quite as many on the point on his passing there, but we've got his finishing up a bit. Again, I do recommend you give him a few shooting skills. First time, long range shooting, long range curler. As an SS though, just behind the attack, I think it looks like it could be pretty decent. You need the position training for it, but I do think you've got that option. He could be pretty handy there. And the only other position we could look at is centre forward. Can you make Hazard a centre forward? Oh, you can, hello. That's interesting. Yeah. And I don't think I would change much from this auto allocation either. It'd be nice to have a bit more speed, but can you really spare the points to do that? No. Oh, we've still got shooting on, my bad. Okay, so the finishing isn't initially as high. Quite at the 90 mark. Are we going to use a booster to do that? Probably. Tell you what, forget the aerial strength. Nudge that shooting up to 90. And then I'm going to give him... Should we give him ball carrying? Or shall we give him... Maybe his Fantasista? Oh, Fantasista gives you shooting, didn't realise. Well, we've got 4 points. Where are we going to put those 4 points? Should we just make him crazy on the ball? You don't really need to for a striker. We'll give him a bit more speed. Yeah, I think I would do that. Could be a very interesting centre forward option. Again, you won't have an active playing style as a centre forward. But in terms of the attributes, yes, the speed's not brilliant, but the acceleration's good. It's got a bit of kicking power. Balance is outstanding. Great attacking awareness. The finishing looks good. It's going to be very nice on the ball. He's going to have very nice passing for a centre forward. The attributes for a centre forward are pretty high. He's got all the passing skills, including phenomenal passing. Would you want to use the position trainers? You'd need the skill trainers as well. You need first time shot. You would absolutely, definitely need first time shot, and probably long range curl as well. Maybe his acrobatic finishing. So you'd need a bunch of position trainers and skill trainers, but you could do it. Again, not recommending you do it, just saying you could do it if you want to. But you've got that option. So yeah, I'll just go back to the original auto allocation. In fact, I'm going to leave him what I did, because I think you do need that extra speed as a winger. What was that I did? You got to get more pace on a winger, haven't you, surely? Yeah, and then whatever the hell I put on him for a booster. Agility, was it? Ball carrying? I don't remember now. Ball carrying, lovely. Something like that. Anyways, yeah. I think it's a decent card, this. At first, like I say, it looked like a bit of another Ribery situation where it's kind of, you know, it was cool to have a Ribery card, and it's cool to have an Hazard card, but Ribery wasn't the best. You know, he's very usable, he's fun on the ball, but just not as explosive as he was, as you'd expect, because they're not going to give us a top tier, you know, legend card for free. It was always going to be a little bit short of that. Of being that kind of on that kind of a level, and it's a similar situation with Hazard, but like I've done just here, I think you've got 1 or 2 ways you can use this Hazard card, and certainly in his kind of intended way as a left winger. If you shuffle the points around, in my opinion, yes, you've kind of sacrificed a bit on the ball, but you can get his pace to a pretty good level. Balance is fantastic, great attacking awareness. Give 1 or 2 skills, certainly his shooting skills, and I think as a left winger especially, it could be very handy. I think it could be a very decent freebie, this. It's one that just about everyone's going to get. I mean, if you don't get this Hazard card, then you're doing something badly wrong on the penalty game. But But yeah, I think it's a very nice freebie this. If you're an Hazard fan, you don't have one of the previous Legend versions, I imagine you'll be very, very pleased with this card. So yeah, I think a lot of people will be very pleased to get this card. You can make him very decent from the left wing. You can make him very decent through the middle as an attacking mid, or just behind the attack as well. Could even make him a half-decent crossbar or centre forward if we wanted to, but certainly through the middle as a kind of a playmaker without an active playing style, or wide left as a prolific winger. It's a very decent freebie this. Like I said it earlier in the video, I'll always criticise Konami when they make bad decisions with this game, but you got to praise them when they make good ones. I think Rijkaard's a really good freebie, Raúl's a good freebie as well, and I think this is another one. So it's the 3 legends we got this time around, so far at least, because there will be more, hopefully. I think they're pretty decent, so fair play. So there are all your new reward player cards, whatever you want to call them, all the players that you can now get from the penalty game since the big update. As I just said, I think we've got some pretty decent legends in there. Hazard, Rijkaard, Raúl. I think Kökçü looks pretty decent actually as well, as a free showtime card. So I think they've done pretty well on the whole with the cards that they've given us this time around. And like I say, hopefully, I expect there will be 1 or 2 more legends and showtimes as well added to the game as they've done over the last couple of years. So yeah, some decent ones in there. Hopefully you found this useful. Let me know what you think of these players. Be interested to know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this video as always, much appreciated. I'll probably see you next on Thursday for whatever they add to the game. We'll see. There's a few rumours about some rare legends from Saudi Arabia and Iraq, and well, it's not a legend, they've told us they're coming, but rumours about 1 or 2 others, maybe a Neymar card, maybe he's on 2 others, we'll see. But hopefully there will be some things to talk about on Thursday, so I'll be seeing you then. Jump in the Discord if you're not already there. Have a fantastic week, take care of yourselves, I'll see you soon.